Today I'm going to share with you a tutorial on how to do the greatest curls ever. And they last 3 days, which is even better. So you're going to have to do some prep work, and it's pretty simple. You just need to sleep in a French braid the night before on freshly washed hair. And I like to use what I call the usual suspects. My favorite Tresemme hairspray. It's the extra hold. I have tried everything high to low, all the way up to Kerastase, and it is the greatest hairspray of all times. And then the curling irons I like to use is my Hot Tools 1/2 inch and 1 inch. Those are really the only curling irons anyone would ever need to own, basically. So you'll start by taking out the braid and just loosely combing through with your fingers. Do not brush it out or anything like that. You want to keep that texture. So I'm just going to run my fingers through my hair, flatten everything out, and then we'll start curling. Okay, so I'm going to start with the front of my face, and I like to take pretty small sections. And this is my trick. I totally came up with this. I'm taking credit for it. I thought of it a couple years ago, and I've been doing it ever since. And it's that move you just saw where I take the hair, and I'm curling away from my face always. I wrap it around the curling iron, curl up the base, and then you can see when I pull the curling iron out, I'm doing this twist motion that's making that kind of dreaded out curl. You'll have to practice a couple of times, but you'll get it. And then you slide the curling iron down your ends, and it straightens and smooths out your ends in a really cool way. See, you can slow it down and check it out later on if you want to go back, but just practice and you'll get the hang of it. It's pretty easy. So you'll pull out and you'll be twisting the curling iron at the same time and sliding down on the ends. And you'll just work around. I like to only do the top. I want to kind of keep that funky wave underneath. So I just kind of do the top half of my hair with this type of technique. Also, like I mentioned before, this is a technique. By sleeping with the braid, you can get a good 3 days out of this, depending on how oily your hair gets. I can definitely get a 3-day max out of this. So you don't want to start off with like a lot of like heat spray or anything like that. I really just spray at the end. I don't want to put a lot of buildup in my hair because I do want this to last. And it's a great technique for my festival girls. You're going to be out in the heat. You're going to be sweating. You're not going to want your curls to go flat. This is going to keep that cool kind of hippie curl probably the whole weekend long. Okay, now that side is finished, and I'm going to go to the other side. Still no hairspray. I save it for the end. And try not to hold the curling iron too long on that front piece. I kind of like just to get a little bit of wave definition in that front piece. I like to keep it kind of straight around my face. Make sure you leave enough ends out so that when you pull the hair down in that technique I showed you in the beginning, it'll be easier to do that. See, like I didn't leave enough ends out and slid off the curling iron. So you want to make sure you leave enough to work with. Like I left a good 2 inches, I think. Another thing I like to do when I'm curling my hair is after I take it after I spin it down, I like to kind of go over it with my fingers and then just kind of roll the ends in my fingers and the oils, just kind of help bring it together. And like I said, I like to call it that dreaded out look. It just kind of brings the ends together, makes it more piecey. Okay, so now I've switched curling irons. The first one I was using the 1 inch, now I'm using the 1/2 inch. And you're just going to kind of go through in between the curls that we just did and grab some pieces underneath and do the wraparound technique. So you're going to go in between the curls you just did. and grab those straighter ones, those more wavy ones, and then you're going to go in and wrap around. Again, leaving the ends out. We want to leave those straight. And you'll be able to see which strands need that wavy curl. It kind of just shows itself, basically. Like, I just kind of let the pieces fall out. Like, I'll shake my hair off to the side, and I can pick those straight looking ones out and know that those ones need the wraparound technique. And I don't like things to get too curly. You can leave the hair on the curling iron longer than I do, but like I said, I don't like to leave it too long, because then it just gets a little too ringlety. And you can see how I just kind of pushed my hair over my shoulders, and immediately those little straight pieces popped out. That's what I mean by you'll be able to tell. You can see a little piece right after this one in between the curls that are straight. And I like to do all different types of curls. And you don't have to stick with the same technique. You can do all different kinds, and it ends up looking really cool. Just experiment with it and have fun. You could even use 3 different sized curling irons if you wanted to. I also like to keep the starting point of my curls around where my ears are. So I like to keep it straight up top. It gives it more of that effortless look that everyone loves. You can see a good example of going in between the curls right there. And then for the front pieces, I don't like to do the wraparound technique for the pieces around my face, other than the ones at my temple. But the top pieces, I like to leave how I did it with the 1-inch curling iron, just because I like those kind of semi-straight. And then make sure you go underneath and grab those pieces. There's always a few stragglers that didn't get enough wave. And that's it. You'll want to run your fingers through it and kind of just bring the curls down. Kind of mesh everything together. And then I go in with my hairspray. And I like to just kind of scrunch it up. I don't want to fluff it too much. Just kind of scrunch it with your hands. Give it a good spray. And that's about it. I hope this helped you and gave you some good techniques to try. Another thing is to get this look to last a good 3 days is when you go to bed, put it back in the French braid, and then the next day maybe go through it with a beach spray. So thank you for watching. Please share. I would really appreciate it. I love comments. If you have any suggestions, I would love to hear from you. And you can check out my blog for information about me, more tutorials, information about my jewelry line you'll see me wearing there, and follow me on Instagram as well, A Little Bit Fancy. Thanks, guys.